He then served in the Carter administration as senior military assistant to the Deputy Secretary of Defense at the Pentagon, earning his promotion to brigadier general during that time. Continuing his ascent, in 1981, he was the Assistant Division Commander for Operations and Training in the 4th Infantry Division at Fort Carson, Colorado. Today, Powell will tell you that he was always happiest when he was in the field, leading and serving in Army divisions. But his previous success in the halls of power, and his ability to dazzle the likes of Caspar Weinberger and Frank Carlucci, almost guaranteed that he would return to Washington to play a role in the Reagan administration. From 1983 to 1986, Powell served as Weinberger's senior military assistant. In mid-1986, upon being promoted to lieutenant general, Powell was sent to command the 5th Corps in Frankfurt, Germany. As before, commanding in the field gave him the greatest satisfaction, but once again that role was short-lived. Frank Carlucci, now Reagan's national security advisor, recruited Powell to return to Washington to serve as his deputy. When Carlucci was promoted to defense secretary in 1987, after Weinberger's retirement, Powell was named national security advisor. In 1989, he received his 4th star and was appointed by President George H.W. Bush to be chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Powell was the youngest officer and the first African-American ever to be appointed to that position. Powell served as chairman of the Joint Chiefs from 1989 to 1993, under both Presidents Bush and Clinton. In September of 1993, Powell retired from the military with full honors. During his career, he not only had personally commanded everything from small platoons to enormous units, but had also been a key player in leading American forces through wars, regional battles, and humanitarian efforts. He had been instrumental in shaping U.S. foreign and military policy for more than a decade. His star shone so brightly, in fact, that 2 presidential candidates, George Bush Sr. and Ross Perot, mentioned his name as a potential future president during the presidential debates in 1992, and political operatives in both parties urged him to run for the U.S. presidency in 1996. Powell declined, citing, among other factors, family concerns about that particular path. From 1993 to 2000, ostensibly his retirement years, Powell was one of the most sought-after public speakers in the world. He also served on the boards of directors of Gulfstream Aerospace, AOL, and Howard University, and was the chairman of the nonprofit America's Promise Foundation. This was a nonprofit that he himself had launched in order to help at-risk children build character, competence, and hope. It would be unfair, even in a short biographical sketch of Powell, to omit a list of his honors and distinctions. His military awards have included the Defense Distinguished Service Medal, the Army Distinguished Service Medal, the Defense Superior Service Medal, the Bronze Star, multiple Purple Hearts, the Legion of Merit, the Soldier's Medal, and the Secretary's Award. Civilian awards have included 2 Presidential Medals of Freedom, the President's Citizens Medal, the Congressional Gold Medal, the Secretary of State Distinguished Service Medal, and an honorary doctoral degree from Yeshiva University. On December 16, 2000, Colin Powell was nominated by President George W. Bush to be Secretary of State. After being unanimously confirmed in the U.S. Senate, he was sworn in as the 65th Secretary of State on January 20, 2001. Part 1. Powell as Provocateur. Chapter 1. Know when to piss people off. Colin Powell, the nation's former #1 soldier and current #1 statesman, is above all a gentleman. He's unfailingly polite, the very embodiment of civility. I would be surprised if he ever applauded the management styles of Darth Vader, Star Wars, or Chainsaw Al Dunlap, multiple corporate dismemberments. Simply put, Powell is not interested in intimidating people. Why? Because as well as being a gentleman, He also is convinced that frightened people don't take initiative or responsibility, and that their organizations suffer as a result. And yet this same Colin Powell is perfectly prepared to make people angry, even really angry, in pursuit of organizational excellence. His explanation for this seeming inconsistency is pithy. Being responsible sometimes means pissing people off. Let's take a closer look at how Powell's personal comportment as a gentleman and a team player fits together with his sense of responsibility as a leader. At the same time, let's get a clearer sense of the organizational realities to which he is alluding when he talks about pissing people off. Effective leadership is exercised across a full spectrum of responsibilities, and also over time. Across an entire organization, involving a wide variety of people engaged in a multitude of tasks, both concurrently and in sequence, the leader must spark high performance and ensure the welfare of the group. Well, that's complicated. Even if the leader manages to get everybody happy with today's reality, somebody's very likely to get off the bus tomorrow. A leader simply cannot please everyone all the time. Making people mad was part of being a leader. As I had learned long ago, an individual's hurt feelings run a distant second to the good of the service. Leadership can't be a popularity contest. Trying not to offend anyone, or trying to get everyone to like you, will set you on the road to mediocrity. Why? Because leaders who are afraid to make people angry are likely to waver and procrastinate when it comes time to make tough choices. Leaders who care more about being liked than about being effective are unlikely to confront the people who need confronting. They are unlikely to offer differential rewards based on performance. They won't challenge the status quo. And inevitably, by not challenging tradition, they hurt both their own credibility and their organization's performance. Powell learned this lesson in his first leadership position as company commander of the Pershing Rifles, his ROTC military society at City College of New York. All of CCNY's ROTC societies, like ROTC programs throughout the region, competed at a regional meet each year for various awards. Powell hoped that his Pershing Rifles would win both the regular and the trick drill competitions at the regional meet. As the meet approached, however, he began to hear discouraging comments about the student he had chosen to lead the trick drill routine. The student was distracted by girlfriend troubles, he was told, and had lost his edge. Powell's problem was that he was friendly with this student, and so, although he talked to him about the negative feedback he was hearing, he decided not to relieve him of his leadership position. Predictably, the Pershing Rifles lost the trick drill competition, although they won the regular drill competition under Powell's leadership, and Powell realized that his unwillingness to relieve his friend of command had cost the Pershing Rifles their second medal. Because Powell's career has been all about change, change is a central focus of this book. As we will see, changing things inevitably makes some people upset, even angry. But the fact is that external change is endemic, proliferating, and accelerating. In such a context, good leaders defy conventional wisdom. They constantly prod their people with what if and why not questions. They engender a climate of let's try it experimentation, demand innovative initiatives from people, and reward performance. And yes, along the way, they definitely piss some people off. Think about the pace of change that has prevailed in the last decade or so. Before the mid-1990s, few people were using email, and few were even aware of something called the World Wide Web. People did business by phone, fax, and FedEx. Then that world got turned upside down. As a new reality set in, a certain percentage of people simply chose to dig in their heels. Here's Powell's comment on exactly this subject, the tendency of some people to fend off the new realities of a digital world by rejecting new technologies. I'll bet you right now that there's no established organization where you won't find somebody who says, I know what I've been doing for the last 15 years, and you're not going to screw me up. That's absolutely true, and the leader's role in this situation is to overcome institutional and individual inertia.